Hello, my fellow Muppeteers. It is good to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. All right, this video popped up in my feed, and I didn't know this was a thing. Why are the British so eccentric in war? And it's from Simple History, which is a channel that has 5 million subs, and I was not aware of. And I love my history channels on YouTube, so. This is probably another one that I'm going to have to subscribe to immediately. But why are the British so eccentric in war? That's I never thought of that before. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, my guess is maybe it's because they once had an empire that spanned pretty much every time zone in the world, you know? So, anyway, since this is a Brit-centric channel for sure, I figured this might be informative. So I'm here to learn something. Hopefully you will too. Anyway, I'll leave a link for Simple History in the description before this video for sure. And I'll probably be binging their videos soon because there's, I feel like half of my subscriptions are YouTube channels that focus on history. So anyway, like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. And let's check this out. Why are the British so eccentric in war?
Brits so eccentric in war. War, it's supposed to be grim, disciplined, and deadly serious. But leave it to the British to bring a bit of oddball charm to the battlefield. Whether it's making tea under fire, charging tanks with umbrellas, or playing the bagpipes in a POW camp, British troops have long blended courage with eccentricity in ways that often leave the rest of the world baffled. These quirks weren't just for show. They were sometimes bizarre, sometimes brilliant, and always unmistakably British. Tea time waits for no one.
I feel like they should have got a British narrator for this. This sounds like it's getting ready to, they're getting ready to do a wrestling match. Why are the British so eccentric during war? I mean, it's a good voice. Just for the tone of a video like this, I don't know. But let's see.
Perhaps the most famous British idiosyncrasy was the national obsession with tea. Conflict, destruction, or imminent death, none of it would come between a Brit and a good cuppa. During the Blitz, as German bombs rained down on London, mobile tea vans were dispatched to the ruins. They weren't armed, they didn't carry medical supplies, they carried kettles and tea. Firefighters, rescue workers, and ambulance crews all could expect a steaming mug waiting for them as soon as the flames were under control.
Really? I actually find that amazing. That's in a weird way awesome. But at the same time, don't you need the ambulance first? Or the fire truck? No, the first thing we need is a good cuppa. Let me know if that's true, because I find that hard to believe.
This tradition followed British soldiers to the front lines. Mobile canteens were sent into combat zones solely to keep morale high through the simple act of serving tea. When these weren't available, troops improvised. Kettles were jerry-rigged, stoves assembled from scrap, and in the middle of a firefight, you might find a Tommy crouched behind cover, calmly boiling water. One such moment of devotion ended in disaster. In 1944, near the French town of Villers-Bocage, British tank crews paused to brew tea, only to be ambushed and destroyed by a single Tiger tank. That distraction proved fatal. Lesson learned. To prevent future casualties over tea, the British Army took action. Since then, their tanks have come equipped with internal boiling vessels, ensuring that a hot drink is always just a flick of a switch away.
I'm sorry. Am I the only one that finds that funny? Because, when you hear that, a single... So, a British tank unit stop to brew some tea, and then a tiger tank shows up, destroys them, kills them all. So to prevent this from happening in the future, that was the point where I was like, all right, they're not going to allow them to brew tea, while they're in a war zone or in hostile territory, not behind it, behind Allied lines or, British lines, like that might be okay. But when you're out there, you're not allowed to do it. That's where I thought it was going. Not that they would install a fucking tea making machine in the goddamn tank. That's the most British thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God. That's amazing. That's amazing.
The British Army took action. Since then, their tanks have come equipped with internal boiling vessels, ensuring that a hot drink is always just a flick of a switch away.
Fucking
to this
brilliant.
day, British tank crews can make a brew without exposing themselves to enemy fire.
Oh.
Absolute madmen, Jack Churchill and the Sword of War. When you hear about a man going into World War II armed with a long bow and a broadsword, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a myth. But John Malcolm Fleming Churchill, Mad Jack to both his friend and foes, was very real. A professional soldier and champion archer, Churchill believed, as he put it, quote, "Any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed," end quote. He wasn't joking. During the retreat from France in 1940, Churchill and his men encountered a German patrol. With perfect composure, he took aim with his longbow and felled a German sergeant, the only confirmed kill with a bow and arrow in the entire war.
Oh my God. That is insane. Jack Churchill. Okay, I gotta look this dude up. This guy must have the biggest set of balls in the history of warfare. Okay, to go into World War fucking II with a longbow, you gotta have big balls and you have to be insane. Okay, Jack Churchill, British Army officer. Let's see what Wikipedia says here. Oh my God, the first picture! Yo, look at this. Look at this dude. I would not fuck with this guy, no. Okay, let's see. Jack Churchill. Hold on. He's got like 5 names. Jack Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill. And I'm scared of all 5. Was a British Army officer, nicknamed Fighting Jack Churchill and Mad Jack. That one's a very apt name. He fought in the Second World War with a broadsword, archery, and a set of bagpipes. Oh my God. Oh. Post-war, in retirement, he enjoyed sailing coal-fired ships on the Thames. I said that right? The Thames. Between Richmond and Oxford, as well as making radio-controlled model warships. Oh my God. This is insane. Okay, well, I'll leave that further reading for later on my own, because this is one of the craziest people I've ever come across in my life.
Later in Norway, he led charges armed with a claymore. On one occasion, he and a single comrade infiltrated a German position using stealth and steel. He approached their post in the dead of night and threatened them with his sword. 42 soldiers surrendered to the madman with the blade. When eventually wounded in Italy, Churchill, bleeding but unperturbed, calmly pulled out his bagpipes and played a Scottish tune until the Germans arrived. He was sent to a concentration camp. He escaped, captured again, escaped again, and when the war finally ended, he was reportedly disappointed, stating, quote, "If it wasn't for those damn Yanks, we could have kept the war going for another 10 years.
That's insane! Yo, this guy is fucking... Oh my God, this guy... If war was a woman, he would be making intense, painful love to her. Oh my God. I've never heard of this dude before. How have I not heard of this guy? Oh my God. That is one of the most insane people that I've ever come across in history. My Jack fucking Churchill.
Mad Jack may have loved the sound of his bagpipes, but sometimes you need to hear the world around you while still keeping your own soundtrack. That's where today's sponsor, Raycon, comes in. Raycon's essential workers leave the Oregon camp in the district open. Water brought to you by Raycon, the Umbrella Commando. If Churchill was a throwback to medieval warfare, then Major Allison Digby Tatum Warder was Victorian eccentricity in combat boots. Serving in the 1st Airborne Division during Operation Market Garden, he gained notoriety not just for courage, but for doing everything slightly oddly. Anticipating communication breakdowns, he ordered his men to learn bugle calls instead of relying on radios. He frequently forgot passwords at checkpoints, so he carried a large umbrella, reasoning, it would be quite obvious to anyone that the bloody fool carrying the umbrella could only be an Englishman. It worked. In one engagement under...
Yo, the radio thing I actually think is very clever. Because, I mean, it's 1940, when was Market Garden? 44? And, you know, radios back then, they're not really, they're not even close to anything as reliable as they are today. So, I think that's a great idea. The umbrella thing, I mean, I guess so. I don't know, like, the Germans don't have umbrellas either? I don't know. That one seems a little... But he got away with it, so anyway.
So he carried a large umbrella, reasoning, it would be quite obvious to anyone that the bloody fool carrying the umbrella could only be an Englishman. It worked. In one engagement under heavy German fire, he calmly walked through the chaos to rescue the battalion chaplain. Don't worry about the bullets, I've got an umbrella, he reassured him. Later, in an iconic moment of absurdity, Tatum Warder led a charge against German tanks, armed with nothing but a pistol and the same umbrella. Wearing a bowler hat for good measure, he thrust the umbrella into the vision slit of an armored car, injuring the driver and disabling the vehicle. Let it...
Yo! I want to know what the German soldier did once he was captured. Like, did he just end it all? Because, I mean, imagine that. You have to surrender to a guy with a fucking umbrella. And you get, you get defeated by the guy with the umbrella. Oh my God. Why have I not heard of these stories and these men? This is insane.
Be recorded. A British officer once took out an armored car with rain gear. The Chindits, oddballs behind enemy lines.
The Chindits.
While eccentricity makes for great stories, sometimes it's a prerequisite for survival. In Japanese-occupied Burma, the jungle proved just as dangerous as the enemy. Conventional tactics failed. Enter Brigadier Ord Wingate and Mad Mike Calvert, two unorthodox commanders, with an even more unorthodox plan to create long-range air-supplied commando units that would harass Japanese forces far behind enemy lines. Their recruits were a special breed. Men who were either incredibly brave or slightly unhinged. One was a demolition expert from the Black Watch, another a Rhodesian hangman. One reportedly ate cigarettes rather than smoked them. Observers referred to them as...
Yo! What's wrong with these dudes? Oh my God. I mean, clearly you would want them on your team. Because they're effective. The one guy defeated a tank with a fucking umbrella. Oh my God.
One was a demolition expert from the Black Watch, another a Rhodesian hangman. One reportedly ate cigarettes rather than smoked them. Observers referred to them as odds and sods, including several lunatics and deserters. They were known as the Chindits, a corrupted pronunciation of the Burmese word for lion. Operating in brutal conditions, they built strongholds deep in enemy territory and launched constant raids. When ammunition ran low, they fought hand-to-hand. Stories abound of Japanese troops being killed with rifle butts, helmets, or captured swords. One sergeant is said to have wrestled a katana from a Japanese officer and used it to kill him. Calvert himself once drowned an enemy soldier with his bare hands. The Chindits earned 4 Victoria Crosses, dozens of Distinguished Service Orders, and hundreds of individual decorations.
4 Victoria Cross, because you guys don't hand them out like Tic Tacs. Those are like, isn't it like the hardest metal to win and like among like any nation out there that has that decorates their troops with a medal or anything like that? I probably worded that terribly, sorry, but yeah, I think it's like the hardest one to win among any nation out there, right? Because I did a whole reaction video to it like 3 years ago, which it was an amazing documentary, narrated by Jeremy Clarkson. But I mean, like, yeah, I wouldn't mess with any of these guys if they're running out of ammunition and then hand-to-handing people to death. My God, yeah, I wouldn't want to run into them. Maybe if you eat cigarettes, you end up as powerful as that. No, I'm just kidding. A terrible attempt at some humor, sorry.
They were feral, fearless, and effective. Proof that in certain wars, sanity is optional. Weaponized humor, trolling the Third Reich.
Okay.
British humor is infamous, dry, ironic, and often absurd. And yeah, they used it against the Nazis. At some point during the war, the Germans constructed an elaborate fake airfield, complete with wooden hangars, oil tanks, and even mock aircraft. It was an obvious decoy, designed to trick the Allies into wasting bombs on worthless targets.
Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. So, you're telling me that he's going to tell me that a British plane is going to fly overhead and drop like a fake bombs all over the airfield? Because that's where I think this is going. And if it is, that's fucking hilarious. Okay, let's see if it comes to fruition here.
The British knew it was fake almost immediately, but rather than destroy it, they let the Germans keep building. Once the ruse was complete, an RAF bomber flew over and dropped a single bomb. Wooden, of course.
Yeah! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! The British are goddamn fucking hilarious. Lunatics, but hilarious. Oh my God. That's the best troll I've ever heard of in fucking warfare. In the history of warfare. That is one epic goddamn troll job. That's amazing.
Painted on the sides were the words, "wood for wood." Whether this tale is entirely true is debatable.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. That means it's not. But I want to believe that so bad.
Argue it's apocryphal. But eyewitnesses, RAF veterans, and even Luftwaffe personnel have insisted it did happen. And frankly,
Okay.
even if it didn't, it should have. Because dropping a fake bomb on a fake airfield is exactly the kind of psychological warfare only the British would consider worth the fuel. Still singing as the ship sinks.
Whoa.
This blend of absurdity and defiance
Whoa, that animation is fucking awesome right here. I really like this bit here with the water.
didn't end with World War II. In 1982, during the Falklands War, the Royal Navy's HMS Sheffield was struck by an Exocet missile. As the ship burned and began to sink, her crew stood on deck awaiting evacuation. The situation was grim. Smoke thick, water's cold, lives at risk. What did the sailors do? They broke into song. Not just any song, but Monty Python's Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. The irony was sharp.
It had to be that one. I mean, if your ship's going down, like, what else can you do, you know? That's one of the scariest scenarios I can think of. Like, for me, like, even though you kind of know what your fate's going to be, I'd prefer to be in the air and just crash because it's like pretty much instantaneous. But this, you know, the next few minutes are going to be fucking awful. You know what I mean? So that's always, you know, that's why if I, like, you know, there was a long time ago where I thought about joining the armed forces, but I was always like, if I do, it's going to be on land somewhere. But I never ended up joining, obviously. But Anyway. Yeah, I just feel like on land, like even though, yeah, you're probably going to be sent into, especially in World War II, like places where bullets are flying everywhere, but just, I don't know. I feel like your chances are still better. I don't know. Am I wrong about that? Anybody got any input on that? Is it safer to be on the front lines or on the ground, or is it safer to be on a ship or in a plane? I feel like in World War II, like in a plane, like the chances of you dying were like extremely high. I don't know about in the Navy or anything. Anyway, if anybody finds that question interesting, I'd love to read some of your responses, so type away. Please, anyway.
The morale unshaken. What did the sailors do? They broke into song. Not just any song, but Monty Python's Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
Amazing.
The irony was sharp. The morale unshaken. The story was taken on board, literally, as the crew of the HMS Coventry also sang the tune when their ship was hit and went down. Apparently, it was a moment that perfectly captured the British wartime spirit. Gallows humor wrapped in stoic composure. Conclusion: madness as a method.
Yeah, I'd
From
say.
swords and umbrellas to teacups and wooden bombs, British eccentricity in wartime wasn't mere showmanship. It was an identity, a national trait weaponized into morale, mischief, and mayhem. When faced with overwhelming odds, some armies double down on discipline. The British? They'll make tea, charge tanks with walking sticks, and whistle a tune as the bombs fall. And somehow, against all reason, it often works. Because when war turns the world upside down, a little madness might be the sanest thing of all.
That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. That's a great fucking channel. I'm subscribing right now. Simple History. I'll leave a link in the description below this video if you guys want to check it out on your own. Anybody want to add to that about the craziness that I just witnessed here? Dude, Jack fucking Churchill. That's going to be a name that I remember for the rest of my life now. Oh my God. I mean, I had never heard of most of those stories, and I thought that, like, at least among my fellow Americans, like, I'm somebody that knows more history than others. But these stories have escaped me. That's a crazy thumbnail when the British exchanged nails for favors from Tahitian women. Yeah, this looks like an awesome channel. I'm going to check out a lot of this stuff on my own. But yeah, dude, that guy, you think a tank versus a guy with an umbrella. And there's nobody in their right mind thinks the tank is going to lose. And apparently he did, man. Man. That German soldier that got defeated by that probably... he was humbled for the rest of his life. For sure. Those are some amazing stories. So yeah, if you have any of your own, put them in the comments below, by all means, please. That was, I'm still laughing about that shit, man. That's like, because that's not you think humor in war, like that, you wouldn't, those two things don't go hand in hand. I mean, there's always some instances of it, but it seems like, I'll say this in conclusion here: the British, you don't want to fight the British because they are crazy and brilliant. That's what I gathered from this video. It was wonderful to react to. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yes, if you have any more stories like this, please put them in the comments below. In the meantime, like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want, and I will see you again soon. Have a lovely day and stay safe. Peace.